You feel it, even if you deny it, even if you don't tell anyone. There's something that still pulls you back. It's not nostalgia, it's dirtier than that. Deeper, more insistent. It's that name that pops up when you don't want to remember. It's that jolt in your chest when something makes you realize there's still part of you there. You tried to distract yourself, tried to forget, tried to live as if there was nothing left, but the truth, you're still connected, even when you don't want to be. This person recognizes you, even pretending not to see, even moving through life with a different rhythm, a different voice, a different way. They still notice when you change your tone, when you show up in the right places, unannounced. There are still unspoken words, you know that. You feel it in your body, in the breath that falters, in the anger that comes out of nowhere, in the exhaustion that weighs down on days that seemed normal. This story hasn't gone away. It has gone quiet. And quiet doesn't mean erased. There are people you don't forget. There are ties that don't break. There's a connection that continues, even when everything should have already ended. And you notice, in the details that no one else sees, in the signs that keep appearing, in the gestures that repeat what you had. You know, this person feels it too, even in silence, even from a distance, even denying it. But the body doesn't lie. The eyes don't disguise. Absence isn't absence when everything is still alive inside. There's still something that recognizes you there, and you feel it before you even try to explain. You try to fool yourself. Say you've moved on. Say you're light. Say it's a turned page. But inside, some part of you remains stuck in the same place where everything happened, and that part doesn't listen to what you say. It just feels. It feels when the name comes up, even without context. It feels when the music plays, even if no one else notices. It feels when the scent comes back, as if it were yesterday. And you freeze, disguise it, swallow hard, as if your body recognized a presence you're tired of denying, as if the universe insisted on reminding you that you haven't moved on. You notice, because it's in the detail that everything comes back, in the phrase someone says with the same tone, in the laughter that cuts through the silence just like before, in the place that waits for you, even when you pretend you don't remember the way. You feel that you're still being sensed by this person, even without words, even without contact, even without interaction. There's something that still connects you, not in time, but from within. And no matter how hard you try, nothing has been strong enough to fill the void that it left. You can see that it wasn't just you. This person still feels, still looks, still thinks, still searches for you where they shouldn't. You've noticed. You've felt it in the quick glance that lasted just a bit longer than necessary, in the message that came out of nowhere, with no subject, in the strange silence that happens every time you cross paths. It's not in your head, it's in the body. It's an unresolved memory, it's pain that turned into an invisible language between two. This person also tries to escape, also creates distractions, also tries to fill the gap. But there's a moment of the day, an exact minute, when you appear inside of them, and they feel it, even from afar, even when busy, even with someone else. They realize that you're still the name that echoes when nothing else makes sense. You try to move on, but something holds you back. It's subtle, but present. A conversation that drains you for no reason. A hug that doesn't fit like it used to. A presence that accompanies you when you wanted to be completely there. And you're not. You're still trapped, not by choice, but due to a lack of real closure. The story hasn't ended, it's just been silenced, and silenced stories return, they always return, in dreams. In the anxiety you feel when you see the name online, in the memory that visits you when everything seemed resolved. You think you're okay, but all it takes is a touch, a sound, a scent, and everything comes back. The truth is that there's still something between you, and it doesn't matter what others say, it doesn't matter if you've moved on, if you've changed, if you've said you no longer feel anything. What matters is what remains, what clings, what no one sees, but that you carry with you every day. You've tried to tear it out. You've wanted to hate. You've wanted to forget. But love doesn't disappear just because you want it to. Love hides and reveals itself in the details, in the way you react when you hear her name, in the way you compare everyone else to him, in the discomfort that arises when someone tries to take that place. You still feel, and it's time to stop pretending you don't. This story isn't over. It's just changed forms. Now it lives in the pauses, in the gaps, in the unspoken. It resides in what you don't say, in what you dream of, in what you wish you had said, but pushed aside for later. And that later still lives inside you, screaming, even when you say you're fine, even when you smile for the camera, even when you convince yourself that time has healed. It hasn't healed. It's just been pushed forward, but the body feels, the soul feels, and life returns it to you. You've noticed this in your daily life. It's that tightness that comes without warning. It's that memory that insistently returns when you're distracted. It's that feeling that something is missing, even when everything seems right. You catch yourself looking at your phone, waiting for something you aren't even sure will come. You try to sleep, but your mind insists on going back to where it hurt, because when it's real, there's no off switch. You might even pretend you've forgotten. You can lie down next to someone else. You can say, "I love you," on impulse, but deep down, you know, there's still someone who recognizes you, and that has never left you. It's not neediness. It's not dependence. It's not illusion, it's perception. You feel it because something exists. It doesn't need to be named or exposed or romanticized, but it's there, latent, pulsing in silence. And as long as you keep pretending you don't feel, it will continue to hurt inside. It will continue to hold back your life without you even realizing it. So I ask you, can you be honest with yourself now? Can you admit that you still feel, that you still hope, that you still get affected? Or will you keep telling yourself that it's over when everything still resonates? Because only those who have lived through something like this understand what this text is saying. Only those who still feel, even if they don't want to, will understand this pain that doesn't show in but consumes. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not behind. You simply experienced something that was real. And what is real doesn't turn to dust, doesn't turn into nothing. It stays, it marks, it shapes, and at some point along the way it comes back. Maybe as a memory, maybe as an opportunity, maybe as a longing that moves you, but it returns. And when it does, you'll realize. You'll notice it in your body, in your breath, in the chills. You'll notice that you're still alive inside both of you. You feel that weight at the bottom of your chest. Not all the time, but it comes back. It comes back when you lie down, when you're in silence, when you look at someone and still feel alone. It's a specific emptiness, not generalized, not confused with common sadness. It's the absence of something that only one name explains, only one face completes, only one presence resolves. And you've tried to fill it with other things, I know. You tried with distractions, with new conversations, with new people, with a rhythm of life that seems full, but deep down is just spinning in place. Because there's still something stirring inside you too. Something that hasn't been closed off. Something that still asks, without words, if it will ever come back. If it will ever explain itself, if it will ever stop hurting. There are people you don't forget. And it's not because you don't want to. It's because it was real, it was raw, it was intense, it was true. It wasn't just passion. It was a bond, it was a deep understanding. It was the meeting of two parts that finally recognized each other. And when that happens, it can't be replaced. You might try. You can kiss other lips, you can sleep in other beds. You can convince yourself, repeat, make excuses, but it won't be the same. Because it's not about familiarity. It's about connection. It's about recognition. It's about what lives in the subtext, in the effortless touch, in the comfortable silence, in the look that says what no one else notices. And now, no matter how distant everything seems, that connection still exists. It wasn't destroyed, it was simply tucked away, and it's stirring again. You notice it, but you don't want to name it, because naming it means admitting that you still feel, and admitting that you still feel means making yourself vulnerable again. But what if you don't say it? What if you pretend? Will it just disappear? No, it will transform into something else. It will become inexplicable irritation, a lack of patience, chronic discouragement, a desire to disappear even when everything seems fine. Because when you hold on to a feeling this big, it doesn't stay quiet. It spreads. It erodes from within. and it starts to sabotage whatever is still ahead. You've realized this, haven't you? That there are things you can't fully live because you're still tied to something that should have been truly closed off long ago. There are answers you're still waiting for. There are words that got stuck. There's a hug you rehearsed in your mind 100 times, but it never happened, and that weighs on you. It weighs when you try to start something new. It weighs when someone compliments you and you can't believe it. It weighs when you look in the mirror and feel incomplete, even when you have everything. That person still sees you too, but the silence has become a defense, and maybe you'll never hear this from their mouth, but the absence of words speaks. The signs say it, the repetitions say it. They feel, but they don't have the courage, or they don't have the space, or they don't have the strength to come back, but that doesn't change what vibrates. And you know this, because you still feel it when their name comes up. You still feel it when you hear someone say something similar. You still feel it when you see the picture, or even avoid looking at it. It's as if everything has become frozen in a time that no one can touch, yet it continues to exist within you. There are things that life insists on repeating until you take a good look at them. And perhaps this is one of those things. You can keep pretending. You can go on living as if everything is fine. You can keep smiling on the outside while dying on the inside, or you can face it. You can admit that you still feel. You can accept that there's still something that needs to be looked at with honesty, because what goes unseen rots, and you don't deserve to rot inside just to appear strong on the outside. Does this make sense to you so far? Write yes down below, or comment, I still feel. If you have the courage to say this out loud for the first time. Do you want to know what happens next? I'll tell you, nothing. As long as you keep pretending that nothing is happening, nothing changes while you refuse to acknowledge what still resonates, to acknowledge what still wants to be healed, to acknowledge that you're not weak for still feeling. You are human, and humans feel. They make mistakes, they connect, they hurt each other, and they take time to let go of what was once real. You're not wrong for still thinking about it. You're not late for not having moved on yet. You are alive. And what truly lives screams when someone tries to silence it. Now breathe. Read this again, slowly. Don't try to understand everything. Don't try to rationalize. Feel. Feel what this text brings up for you. Feel where it hits. Feel what it reminds you of, because at this very moment, something within you is being accessed. Perhaps a pain, perhaps a memory, perhaps a regret, perhaps a desire that hasn't died yet. Whatever it is, let it come. Don't fight against it now. Don't close up. Don't harden your soul. If you've come this far, it's because there's still something that wants to be seen. And perhaps no one has told you this so clearly before. But I'm going to tell you, you're still stuck in this. Even if the world thinks otherwise, even if you've already moved on, even if it seems resolved, and as long as you don't face this with courage, with truth, with pain, you will continue to carry it. You will remain fragmented. You will keep walking without arriving. This story is asking to be closed with soul, or to be reopened with courage. But pretending it doesn't exist is no longer an option. You know this. You've already realized it, and now that you've felt this, there's no turning back, and your body is screaming. Even when your mouth doesn't speak, even when your mind says it's over, you feel it in the reactions you can't control, in the shiver that appears for no reason, in the insomnia that defies explanation, in the feeling of absence, even when surrounded by people. You are there, living, but a part of you remains in the past, stuck, present where it shouldn't be anymore. And that is exhausting. It drains you, it leaves you heavy even when nothing seems out of place. You try to forget, force new paths, distract yourself, change your routine, hide from yourself. But what's true doesn't disappear. It transforms. And sometimes it turns into illness. It becomes constant sadness. It becomes anger without cause. It becomes self-sabotage. It becomes that knot in your throat that you can't explain to anyone. Your body still calls for it, or for him, even in silence. And you know it, because you've already tried to ignore it and failed, because you've already tried to hate it and just ended up exhausted, because you've tried to erase it and only deepened the stain. There's a part of you that still belongs to this story. And no matter how much time has passed, nothing has filled that void. Because it's not about absence, it's about presence. A presence that shaped you, that left you marks, that made you see life through a different lens. And these lenses you still wear even without realizing it. You want to forget, but what you feel hasn't accepted leaving yet. And maybe no one has explained this to you, that love doesn't die with silence. It dies when it's faced head-on, with pain, with truth, with presence, and maybe, not even then, maybe it never dies. Maybe he just changes form. Maybe he just becomes another type of memory. But he needs to be felt, lived, dismantled, before he destroys parts of you that aren't even his, before he contaminates your ability to feel again, before he turns you into someone you no longer recognize. You feel that you are still being awaited, even without words, and it consumes you. Because there's no certainty, only perception. You realize that there's an open space, that someone is still searching for you in the subtext, that there's still something pulling you back, even when everything says move forward. And that hurts, because you no longer know where right is. You don't know if it's still worth it. You don't know if you should, but you know that you still feel. And that's enough to keep you stuck in the middle of the path. Comment here, I still feel. If this is hurting you right now, not as a confession, but as liberation. You deserve to live fully, not divided between what was and what should be happening now. You deserve to love again, with presence, with peace, with freedom. But while this knot remains inside, nothing new will be born complete, because everything will be comparison. Everything will be defense. Everything will be an attempt to protect yourself from what has hurt before. And that is not living. It's surviving. It's repeating. It's building on ruins and hoping it lasts. Now listen to this calmly. This person still carries everything they lived with you, even if they don't say it, even if they don't show it, even if they are in another place with another life. They carry it. You are present in their thoughts in moments they don't understand. You still show up in songs they try not to listen to. You still exist in the plans they dream about alone. And this is not an invention. It's residue. It's living memory. It's a bond that hasn't been broken, just silenced. And silence sometimes screams louder than any answer. Have you ever tried to run away from yourself? Have you ever tried to erase the pain instead of going through it? Have you ever tried to be someone who feels nothing anymore? How was it? Did it work? Or did it just distance you further from yourself? Because this is the truth that nobody dares to say. The pain you don't face becomes a shadow. And the shadow drains your life without you even noticing. It drains your relationships, your creativity, your energy, your will, and you start to live on autopilot, without passion, without connection, without soul. And all of this began when you decided to pretend you didn't feel anything anymore, but now you are here, feeling, looking, admitting, even if just inwardly. And this is already the start of healing, of liberation, of a new path. But only if you have the courage to keep looking, to keep feeling, to stay present. Do you want to know what comes next? After looking, admitting, realizing, comes the choice. Will you stay trapped in what was? Or will you learn to carry with dignity what still resonates, without letting it stop you from living what could come? This choice is yours, but it can only be made for real. When you stop pretending you don't feel. If this resonated with you, share it. Comment on the topic, subscribe to the channel, and leave your like.